Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of HP Critical. It's a podcast where my friends and I talk all things gaming. I am Jerel, and I am joined today by Brandon.
Ayo!
You broke up a little bit.
Oh no.
For me. So I didn't hear your hello.
I actually said,
but
hey,
I saw it.
but I'm here. Cool.
Okay, well, I can hear you perfectly now. So yeah, tonight's episode is just gonna be Brandon and I, unless we get a surprise entrance from one of the ladies.
Well,
yeah,
it's not so much a surprise entrance, but we got a cameo from Christy who's saying hi on chat.
Oh, Christy! Hello, Christy. We love you. Yeah, so, unless there's a random surprise, it's going to be Brandon and I talking about video games, which I think we do best together
Straight.
after so many years of doing it. So I have a bunch of things to go over from last week because I know that we didn't have an episode last week. So anyone who missed last week, we did publish the 4th episode of JRPG Club, which you can go check out. It's still been a lot of fun. I promise episode 5 is going to come eventually. Things have just been very, very busy for the HP Critical crew. But enough of that. Let's talk about... I had a whole list, but I just want to start with Pokemon. Let's start with Pokemon. The latest Pokemon trailer.
Chrissy's mentioning the new Pokemon that look like Mega Man characters.
That's actually exactly where I'm going with this. Let's start with Pokemon impressions. Let's talk about how you felt about watching the video, what stood out to you, what you liked, what you didn't like.
So yeah, watching that trailer, I'm happy that we finally know the villain team, which Team Star. I am Chrissy says she's here to derail your plans.
I love it.
Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, so no, the Team Star, I'm mixed on Team Star if I'm being honest, because I like them. I like the idea that they're just like ne'er-do-wells from like school that just don't cut class and just like get into mischief or whatever. I like that idea of them. But because they're just students that just get into mischief, their outfits is just the same as the school uniform as everyone else's. So they don't have like a cool like uniform like other teams have had in the past. So that's kind of lame. Now that one leader that they showed, Mela, her name, her design
she's
is
the best looking.
Hell yeah! I absolutely love the design,
Looks
and I love that the trailer highlighted again that there's 3 different storylines. We got one of them was like the gym challenge. Second is like this treasure hunt that you're going on, and the third is I guess just going after Team Star and stopping their plans. So they seem to have their own leaders. Like that one we saw is just one leader. She's the fire leader, Team Star. I think that's really cool. It actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Spider-Man, originally a PS4 exclusive, where one of the side quests was to just go into bases owned by the Kingpin or other such villains and just bust up their operations. Only one of those was required, but if you wanted to, you could go all around New York City and bust up these bases and got graded based on it. So I think that's pretty cool that they have that as an option too. And I know you mentioned this earlier in our Slack, Jarrell, that there's this mechanic where the Pokemon can like mob attack them as you're like going through the base.
The free battle.
Yeah, the free battle. That was interesting. So, I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, that was the Team Star thing. The new Pokemon, like Christy said, they do be looking like Mega Man characters, and I'm torn because I like them both. I want them both on my team, but they're both fire types, and I'm also starting with Fuecoco, so that would be 3 fire types on my team, and it's a lot, but I still want it. So I gotta I have a few months to figure out this dilemma internally to see what I'm gonna do with the when the game comes out. But yeah, the Pokemon look cool. There's Titans. That's the Titan Pokemon. Reminds me a lot of not only of Legends Arceus, where it had the the Noble Guardians, but also the Noble Pokemon.
Sun and Moon.
But also, yes, exactly. Sun and Moon, where it had the Totem Pokemon. So I'm glad that's coming back. I think that's a cool little boss challenge. But no, I wouldn't say there was anything in the trailer that was like mind-blowingly like big, like on the same level as Terrestrializing or the open world or whatever. But I think for those of us who are following the game and just want to see a little more of it, I think there was enough little information there to keep the excitement going, talk about some new stuff. I think the real main highlight for me personally was seeing the villainous team and therefore establishing what the third storyline of the game was. I think that was cool to touch on. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
I wish that I wouldn't have watched it. That's my thoughts. Only because For most games I don't care about being spoiled, because I will literally forget by the time I actually play the game because backlogs and like it's really not that big of a deal unless it's like a really huge story driven game.
I'm just laughing because Chrissy says, "Oh no, here's Jerel's opinion."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, what Christy said really. Like I don't want to see any more. Basically, I don't want to see any more new Pokemon. I don't want to see any more new mechanics. I was fine without seeing the villains. She looks amazing, which is like super awesome. Like Mella's like gorgeous, like, beautiful character design. I love all the character designs in this game. But I wish I didn't know. I wish I didn't know that I was going to go up against other students. Free battles looks awesome. You can have one of your, as far as from what I read today, it's one Pokemon that follows you. So whatever Pokemon is following you is the one that's able to go off and fight other Pokemon on its own while you just walk around. Like you can just randomly pick fights with people, which is not very nice, but like it is what it is, and they can go pick up items for you and stuff. So that's pretty cool. All the character models are amazing. The game looks gorgeous. I'm super excited. I've not been this excited for a Pokemon game since Sword and Shield. I think Arceus was great, but it was not. Yeah, I'm just very excited. Everything looks really great. I'm getting Scarlet, which is why I was asking in chat who's getting Violet, because the Violet one, which name I can't remember right now. His name I can't remember right now. The Ghost and Fire one. It just looks so much better than the little Mega Man cannon.
Cerulege.
Yeah, looks way better than the Mega Man cannon. So
I agree.
Who's getting Violet? I need that thing. But yeah, that was really good. Yeah, it was good.
I forgot to mention, as you mentioned, all the new characters they were showing. Gila, the chairwoman, who I'm almost positive is going to be the champion, by the way. I also really like her design as well.
I actually don't. So many people like her design. I actually don't. I think it's her hair that bothers me.
Hair is a little long, but I still like the design nonetheless. Interested in seeing what they do with the character. I think that was it. I just wanted to say one last thing. As far as you saying you don't want to see any more new Pokemon, and I totally respect that. I also don't want to see too many more before the game comes out. I do want to be surprised. That being said, there's one thing I'd like to see. I would want to see maybe one or two more Paldean Pokemon, because we've only seen Wooper. Like, I don't want to see like entirely new Pokemon. Like, I want to keep as much of that fresh. But I feel like they can show us at least one more, because like, regional variants are back. Here's a Wooper. Awesome. Any others? Oh, obviously they're going to be there.
No. Be surprised when you play through.
I want at least one more. Just one. I like Wooper, but I need another.
Dang, that reminded me of something and I completely just forgot.
And Chrissy says she's not a fan of the design, and she's also on the side of no more.
Wait, a fan of what design?
She's not a fan of Gila's design.
Oh yeah, she has like these weird hair. I don't know, but what I do know is that I just forgot it again. I just remembered and I just forgot again. Oh my gosh. Pokemon.
Pokemon. Anything about Cloth, the crab Pokemon?
No, they just keep making really big, ugly crabs. Oh, that's what it was. This game seems to have a lot of Pokemon that we haven't seen in so long, and I am so excited. Yeah. Kamala was there, and I was like, I literally have not seen Kamala since the game he was introduced. I know, that's why I posted that picture in Slack, because I was like, oh my god, Kamala's back. I was specifically talking to you, Brandon.
Yeah.
What's that other? I'm not going to name them all because I don't want this to continue to go on. But I kept seeing Pokemon that we haven't seen in like a while, and there seems to be such a huge variety in Paldea, so I'm very excited to see, like, and I've been spoiled, so I know some of the ones that are coming back that I won't spoil anyone on the podcast for, but there have been a lot of Pokemon that have not been very popular previously, that are coming back, and I mean popular as in like being in different games, so it's really cool to see them come back. And then I'm already happy because my team is basically already set. Some of my favorite Pokemon are already confirmed. Yeah, 100%. Unless there's like new Pokemon that come out. I don't care about Fido, sorry.
I'll be
I only
honest.
really like Sprigatito. Hmm.
I was gonna be honest. Like, until they introduced Armor Rouge and Cerulege, I had very little of my Pokemon like set already. Like, I legit for the longest time was like Fuecoco and Lechonk, and that was it. I was just like, I don't know what are the Pokemon I want, and now I have these two, and they may not even be on the team because that's a more Fire type. So I want them certainly, but I don't know if they'll be on the team per se. So I really still only have two confirmed for my team, which I'll wing it as I go. I don't need to have like it all straightened out. I actually, my friend Zach, we and I talk about this a lot. He's of the camp that he likes to know like almost all the Pokemon so he can set up his team beforehand. I only like doing that if we're dealing with like a remake. Like with Diamond and Pearl, when those came out, I was like, okay, I want these Pokemon for my team this time around because I already know all the Pokemon. It's a remake. But if it's a new game, then I kind of like to just figure out as I go. That's kind of how I do it.
I'm getting Sprigatito because it's the most adorable grass cat. And then they showed me that Lilligant is going to be back, which is my favorite Pokemon. Then they showed me that Serena's going to be back, another one of my favorite Pokemon. And then they showed Hatterene was there, and another one of my favorite Pokemon from last generation. So I was like, oh my god, that's 4 out of the 6. I'm done. Like, give me 2 more, and 2 more, which I kind of already know that I've been spoiled on, which are also some like Pokemon that I really love. So I was like, oh my god, unless there's some really, really cute new Pokemon, I'm just excited to be back with some. Because usually, and I don't know, like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and I also want to move on, I don't want to talk about Pokemon the whole time. But usually, like, we don't really get the new Pokemon from the last game in the next game all the time.
No,
Or at least from what I remember, we don't.
Not lately. Not lately, certainly.
Yeah.
Like, even Sword and Shield, it wasn't until the first update that we even got the Alolan starters available in the game.
Exactly. Exactly. So seeing the Hatterene line, I was like, whoa, they just came out. Like, this is crazy. We usually don't get that.
I was literally thinking earlier today, because I was thinking about the Pokemon a lot today after that trailer. Like, I don't know why this Pokemon Evolve came into my head, but the Ultra Beast Blacephalon that got introduced in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, that's one of the Pokemon that's gotten the rawest deals ever because you could only get that Pokemon if you got specifically Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, which a lot of people didn't because, again, it was just Sun and Moon again, basically. And then it didn't come back in Let's Go. It didn't come back in Sword and Shield. There's one game where you can get that Pokemon, and it's probably not going to come back in this game unless they do an Ultra Beast. Like, there were Ultra Beasts added in Sword and Shield, and I don't think Blacephalon was even one of them. I think it was like the original Ultra Beasts. It certainly wasn't like Naganado or Poipole. It was like, yeah, no, there's some Pokemon that are new and just don't get anything. Now, that being said, I am hoping at least that all the new Hisuian Pokemon make it in because they haven't really gotten a chance to be in a competitive Pokemon game where you can battle against other people because that's a single-player game, so they really haven't gotten their chance. I don't want to assume anything, but I would hope that they get, at least those Pokemon get, allowed in. But we'll see.
The addition of home and being able to put them there is kind of an indication of where we're going. But honestly, I'm just very excited to play with friends. Like, it is just top tier because of that. Like, I want to go through the entire story with friends. So give me whatever you want at this point. I'll take it. Unless you're PlayStation. Because
Segway!
The PS5 price is set to increase in select markets due to global economic environment, including high inflation rates. Now, this is not happening in the U.S., so anyone who's listening in the U.S. does not have to worry very much about this, but in other regions, the price is increasing. This is from the PlayStation blog. The global economic environment is a challenge that many of you around the world are no doubt experiencing. We're seeing high global inflation rates as well as adverse currency trends impacting consumers and creating pressure on many industries. Based on these challenging economic conditions, SIE has made the difficult decision to increase the recommended retail price of the PlayStation 5 in select markets across Europe, Middle East and Africa, Asia, Pacific, Latin America, as well as Canada. There will be no price increase in the United States. In Europe, the price for the Blu-ray PS5 is now $549.99, and the digital is $449.99. In the UK, it's $479.99 for the disc and $389.99 for the digital. And I'm not going to do the rest of these. Okay, I'll do Canada. In Canada, the disc version is now $649.99, and the digital is $519.99. And then they have the prices for Mexico, Australia, China, Japan, etc. And it also says, while this price increase is a necessity, given the current global economic environment and its impact on SIE's business, our top priority continues to be improving the PS5 supply situation so that as many players as possible can experience everything that the PS5 offers and what's still to come. Thank you for your continued support. So, Brandon, I know this doesn't affect you in the US, but how do you feel about the PlayStation being 2 years old, being still hard to get, and then having a price increase in different regions?
I can't say I expected that we get to a point, because obviously the trend is console comes out, it's out for a few years, goes down in price to get some of the people that it didn't bite in the immediate wave, right? I never expected us to get to a situation where a company felt like they needed to raise the price as opposed to lowering it. As it is, like you said, it's already still difficult for consumers to even get their hands on a PlayStation 5 system at the moment. And then with the price going up, I hesitate to say that it will reduce demand. It might do a little bit at the very least, because that's another fit. It's obviously the currency is different for different countries, but it's approximately a $50 increase in the retail price for the PlayStation 5. Actually, the shirt I'm wearing today is a little appropriate because it's the Final Fantasy 16 shirt. And the day that this was announced, 16 started trending on Twitter in Japan, because now a lot of Japanese consumers are concerned that they will no longer be able to get the game because of the price increase in their territory, and that was really sad to read, honestly. So there's a lot of people that are going to be affected by this. A lot of people that wanted those exclusives on the PS5 now either are going to choose not to or be forced not to, and I think that sucks. And I have to really wonder about if they honestly really needed to do this. Obviously, times are tough. I cannot deny that, obviously. Times are tough for businesses. There's still shortages in parts to make these systems. So, but I don't know if this is the move to do it. And let me tell you, I don't know if you were going to touch on this yourself, but as soon as PlayStation made this message, Microsoft and Nintendo were quick to jump on them and say, "Oh, we're not increasing our price. Just saying."
Yeah.
So that's cool on them. I don't know, man. I think it's a very short-sighted move. I feel like they feel like they needed to do this, but I think it's just gonna hurt them in the long run. Is my takeaway from this. Maybe people won't care. Maybe they will.
So Sony Interactive Entertainment has a lot of money.
They have a lot of money. Yes.
I understand that we're dealing with, economic issues. I don't know the ins and outs of much, so I'm going to be talking from a little bit of an ignorant standpoint here. However, the PlayStation 5 has sold really well.
Yes.
It has been, one of the best-selling consoles for this current generation. And it continues to sell really well. So I don't see how increasing I don't see how this is helpful. Okay, so I don't see how this is helpful for consumers, which is obvious, but more so to the point that it kind of feels to me like if I was still in the market for a PS5, if I was still in the market for a PS5 to get one the regular way, right, without going through a scalper, without having to go through GameStop and pay an additional $700 for a bundle, I just want a regular. Sorry, I'm trying to turn all my stuff on silent. Sorry for anyone who heard that. I just want a regular PS5. And I just want a regular retail PS5. And, I finally get the opportunity to get one because they're ramping up production, and now I have to pay more money. That just, to me, seems like a really, really bad move for consumers who couldn't get it before. Especially because, we've talked about it before, a lot of people, it's not their fault they can't get one. It's not our fault as consumers that we can't get one, so now you're charging us extra money because we couldn't get one before when it was cheaper? Mm-hmm. That doesn't make any sense. So I'll only talk from that standpoint and say that it just seems like a really, really bad move. It reminds me of, was it last generation where Xbox fucked up and PlayStation was like, this is how you share your games? Or that was PS3.
No,
That was PS3.
that was most definitely no. You were right. That was definitely PS4, Xbox One. Where
Oh, it was last gen? Oh, wow.
Xbox
Yeah.
One had that big DRM issue in the beginning. The Kinect were being required, all that good shit, and then the PlayStation 4 just jumped in with the here's how to share your games. Just literally just took like their PlayStation 4 game, handed it to them, and was like, thanks. And that was like, yeah.
That is the only reason that PlayStation is not getting it as bad as Xbox did is because people have already decided that PlayStation is the winner of this generation. Like
exactly.
Especially with Xbox not producing exclusives for people to want to go buy Xbox consoles because they're always just like you can literally play anywhere, so it's fine. That's the only reason they're not getting so much backlash, because even those companies were like, yeah, we're not doing that. But just to do this when you have so much money, it's just, I don't know why it was done, so I can't explain why anyone would do it. It's just very sad to see,
honestly. Oh, and Christy was mentioning on chat, similar to what I was saying before. She said they're not thinking long term, they're looking at short term monetary gains.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And the sad part is it's gonna work. You have
in the short term, yeah, I think it will.
We have so many, like I can't even think of all of them. You've got Forspoken coming up, you have Final Fantasy 16 coming up, you have Final Fantasy Rebirth coming up, you've got the other Final Fantasy game, which is on all platforms, but like if you're a PlayStation fan and you play your games on PlayStation, it's another one that's going to come out. God of War is on the horizon. You have so many exclusives or PlayStation, and so many people that have PlayStations that are going to force the hand of others. If you want to play with your friends, if your game isn't crossplay, then you're going to have to get it on PlayStation. All of that is going to convince people that they're going to have to buy this console if they want to. If you want to buy into the PlayStation atmosphere, you're going to have to pay what I am now just going to call the PlayStation tax, the extra money. It's like the Apple thing, right? Like you're paying for whatever. So it was Power Rangers Day recently.
Hey.
They announced Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, which is going to begin filming this fall and debut in 2023 with Simon Bennett returning as EP for the first time since Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The current cast will be returning for a third season.
Yeah, that's the main reason I wanted to talk about that, because first off, this is the 30th anniversary. This upcoming season, Cosmic Fury, is going to be the 30th anniversary, which is crazy to think about. Like, Power Rangers is literally as old as I am, maybe actually a little older. But anyways, yeah, the current cast is coming back for a third season. That has not happened since Mighty Morphin. Like, the last few years, it's been like each season is like each cast gets 2 years to themselves, and then they move on to another cast, new characters, new whatever. Yeah, this is the first time that a cast is coming for a third season since the days of Mighty Morphin, and I think that's pretty cool. The current cast is pretty cool. Notably, this is the very first season to have the first lesbian Power Ranger, like the Green Ranger. That she's gay, and they fully embrace that. Like, there was an episode all about that, and several episodes since, so I think is really cool. So, yay, she gets to come back for another season, because she's actually my favorite character from this current season of Rangers too. Like, she's really cool. And they did something really cool with her as well. Like, she's also the first female Green Ranger as well. And in the footage that they're using from, like, the Japanese version, the Green Ranger was male and therefore didn't wear a skirt. So what they did with this season, right, is she morphed. Her outfit had a skirt. She looked at it, ripped off the skirt on the suit, and she said, "Skirts aren't really my thing." I'm like, "That's great!"
I love it. Yes, love it.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. Yeah, no, the season's cool. I'm interested in seeing what they do for the 30th anniversary. And Simon Bennett coming back since Mighty Morphin. I gotta be honest, I don't know too much about like the EPs and whatnot. I mostly follow like the cast themselves. But hey, if this has been gone since Mighty Morphin is coming back, that's cool. I guess we'll see what happens with that. No, it's just a lot of historic stuff going on this season. This is the only reason I wanted to mention it. Looking forward to seeing what goes on with the new season.
That all sounds great. You also brought something to my attention earlier that I didn't see, which was a McDonald's tweet today that I obviously had to bring up. I meant to bring it up when we were talking about PlayStation, but McDonald's sent out this wonderful tweet that said, "Do you need a ride to the Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary party?" And in this tweet, it is a picture of McDonald's in the background and Cloud Strife with the Buster Sword on his famous motorcycle.
Oh, man.
In the foreground.
I don't know why it makes me so laugh so much, but it's just hilarious.
I was like, what is going on here? Like, they better give me a Final Fantasy 25th anniversary Happy Meal or something. Because why are y'all doing this? Like,
I'm just imagining, like, okay, so they did this a lot in, like, the 90s and a little bit of the 80s, but I would love if they did a commercial where it's just like, it's in-engine Final Fantasy VII remake graphics, Cloud riding the motorcycle, and as he's riding the motorcycle, goes to a drive-thru McDonald's and gets a Big Mac.
That is because, and so the reason I also wanted to bring it up is because obviously I had to ask, what is Cloud ordering from McDonald's?
Ooh,
because I was gonna say a Big Mac.
I feel like he would just go with the Big Mac. Like Cloud, it doesn't seem like the type to like be bothered, just be bothered with it. He'll just get whatever the popular thing is. I feel like Barrett is probably gonna go like the double quarter pounder with cheese with like the fries.
Oh my god, spot on
with the milkshake. Tifa will probably be that one that gets the salad at McDonald's, even though their salads are trash.
Okay, well, what's Aerith getting?
Aerith is gonna go to the McCafe and get one of their lattes, and she'll probably get the fillet of fish.
Really? Okay. All right. Finally, because Yuffie's already playable. What about Yuffie?
Ooh, Yuffie. What is she getting?
I feel like Yuffie's getting like chicken nuggets.
Hey, I was about to say that. She's getting nuggets. She's getting nuggets, and she's gonna get the spicy nuggets.
Oh, wow. So something also really cool, which if anyone wants to see this, you can totally go to McDonald's. Oh, sorry.
McDonald's is Twitter, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Drop my iPad. You can go to McDonald's Twitter to see it. There have been some responses from other companies to this tweet, which I do want to point out.
Oh, please. I didn't see those.
As McDonald's said, do you need a ride to the Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary party? Final Fantasy VII responded and said, "We're loving it." Get it? Get it? I love it. T-Mobile also responded and said, "Roll in, we're on the high wind." Which, anyone who's played Final Fantasy VII, you know what the high wind is. Yeah. And Final Fantasy VII responded, "How's the reception?" Because T-Mobile. How's the reception?
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Bring back Kefka and have him cosplay as Ronald McDonald's.
They also have the replies are actually really funny. I would suggest if you guys have some.
I'm going to. I didn't realize there were so many responses. I'm definitely gonna look this up.
They also have because this one is like Final Fantasy VII Remake Cloud. They also responded to a tweet with FF7 or OG FF7 Cloud in front of McDonald's, so you can check that one out as well. Okay. Oh my god! Like my cat. Please, Joker, please. He's making me drop my iPad, which has all of my stories on it. Also, I forgot when we were talking about Pokemon. Obviously, a new Nintendo Switch OLED model, Pokemon Edition, is out coming out. How you feel about that one?
It's an OLED model, which is pretty cool. Because a lot of people thought it was gonna be a Switch Lite. Because they did that with
why?
I don't know why they thought that. They did it with Sword and Shield. And I guess they just assumed that they would do it again for this one, for those people that just want to play handheld. But no, they're doing the OLED route. Honestly, that speaks to me of like their confidence in this game, because they want that game to look as beautiful as it can in the OLED screen. Like, it's obviously the main benefit of the OLED is the playing in handheld, so you can see the OLED screen. And so if they want you to see that Pokemon game in the OLED screen, they must be pretty confident in how it looks, at least like in a visual standpoint. Whether that confidence is warranted, I guess we'll see. But, you know, at the very least, though, them Joy-Cons look good, and that dock looks good. Now, it's crazy to me, though, that they're really going full throttle now in their OLED versions. You know, like you mentioned, Splatoon 3 is getting an OLED model. It's already come out as of the last week. And the actual Splatoon 3 game, as of this recording, will be out in 2 days. So the OLED came out a little before. Same with these. The Pokemon OLED model is coming out a little before the game actually releases, so you can get it ahead of time and just look at it and suffer while you wait for Pokemon to come out. But... Bye, Christy. Thanks for coming. Have a good night. She's leaving. Just...
I'm not surprised by this at all. I think naturally as a company, Nintendo has to start pushing the OLED. I don't think it's tied to Pokemon. I don't think it's tied to Splatoon. I think it literally is, we're trying to... You know how they did that thing where they were trying to push the new model of the Switch, so then they started, like, selling the old models out? I feel like this is just the next rung on the ladder, because how old is the Switch now?
Oh, the Switch has been out since 2017, and this OLED model's only been out for not even a full year yet.
So the console's 5 years old, like as a concept, which is 5 years old. So for sure, they're gonna start pushing people towards
the next one. Yeah,
OLED. Yeah. So any Nintendo property that's big enough, 100% is going to be getting Switch OLED treatment.
And what better game to sell than Pokemon? Like it makes it makes too much sense to whether it would have been a Switch Lite or the OLED, you have to sell a new Switch of Pokemon because people buy Nintendo systems for Pokemon. That's just like one of their top sellers. So having a system to go with the new game is what's going to do it. Because there's a lot of people that either people that didn't bite with Sword and Shield, that it wasn't for them, and are going to do this one, or people that may have gotten like their older Switch for what the heck? Sorry, my phone was like buzzing loudly. Like they got the regular Switch for Sword and Shield, and then now they're upgrading to the OLED. I know previous guest and friend of ours, Odell, is finally biting on the OLED because he likes the way the Pokemon one looks. So they're getting him to buy an OLED finally. Our friend Toby is now has an OLED Switch because of the Splatoon 3. Yeah. So the more special models you get based on these games that you know are going to sell well, the more sales you get. I would not be surprised if when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, that OLED will be tied to that one as well.
Yeah. But wasn't there... Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this,
sure,
the reason that Sword and Shield got the Switch Lite is because that was the new thing at the time.
Yes, that's
was
also
it
correct.
not?
Yeah, no, yeah.
So, and now, right, this one's getting an OLED because it's the new thing at the time.
Yeah,
so sense. I think what you do is pair your new console with your brand new Pokemon or original Nintendo IP like Splatoon, and you sell it that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know why people are surprised really about the Pokemon getting an OLED Switch. Literally, as soon as I saw the announcement, I literally was like, "Duh, yeah, makes sense." Yeah. Like, of course, it's their new thing. Remind me if I forget that we do have one final Pokemon question to end out the podcast that I want to ask you.
Do my best.
We'll see. Well, I'll if I remember. So there is an awesome new feature in Gotham Knights, which I saw, and then you posted, which reminded me of it. Which and I'll try to describe it as best as I can. Which is you get to join another. You know what? Actually, do you want to explain it? You could probably explain it better than I can.
Yeah, I think based on what I saw from the video, I could probably explain it. So yeah, for those who don't already know about Gotham Knights, it's the game where you're playing as the proteges of Batman, following his demise by the Court of Owls. So you can play as either Nightwing, Robin, Tim Drake, Red Robin, I believe, Batgirl, or Red Hood, and each per character you play as has their own story, and you have your own progression to it. But you can also play with a friend online together in the same storyline. Now, you're going through your own storyline as you progress through the game, but you can still play with another person. And based on what it was said by the developers is, you can still play with your friend even if you're at two different parts of the story. And if you're at a point of the story that you've already done, but your friend has not, you have the option to either watch it again, the cutscenes that you've already seen again, or you can just simply skip them, but still play with your friend. Moreover, you can also play it together and not even see each other. Like, you could be this person could be at the west end of Gotham, and the other could be at the east end of Gotham, and you could be playing together, but never actually interact with each other. Now, I don't know why you would, but that option is there. Like, if you just want to do your own thing, but also play with a friend, you could do that. So, it's a combination of asynchronous multiplayer and synchronous multiplayer together, and being able to play together no matter where you are in the story is really ambitious. And a lot of people have said quite simply that if they pull this off well, every multiplayer game that has a storyline like this needs to do this going forward. And I agree. If they can actually pull this off, this seems like the future for this kind of game.
Yeah, it's a very, I think they called it like an untethered type of experience in which I can go into Brandon's world and do whatever the flip I want the entire time, not see him and then leave, and all my progress comes with me. Which is great because a lot of times we'll see progress tied to just the host, which still happens in 2022, which is still a little crazy to me. Or we'll see like you can't play with someone at this portion in the story, so you have to catch up to them, different things like that. So this is awesome. However, I'm so wondering now how Pokemon's gonna do this because only because from what I understand, it sounds like Pokemon's gonna be almost exactly the same. Like we can all just like I can go into Brandon's world, and I don't think that they've made it sound like I'm restricted. Like it sounds like I can go into Brandon's world and go play with my Pokemon wherever the heck I want, explore wherever the heck I want, and then leave when I want. Kind of like Animal Crossing. Now that I think about it. Whatever, I'm just gonna keep comparing it to Nintendo properties.
I guess.
But
Animal Crossing though was a lot simpler though because there's really no story to it. You just go to a friend's island and just hang around. With a story game, it is significantly more difficult for the reasons we've both said.
Yeah, that's actually what I was gonna say, which is like I'm very interested to see how Pokemon's gonna handle it, because if we're playing together and we're both doing the same type of story type, like what does that mean for us as players? But yeah, I think this is amazing. I think it is something that seems so, to me when I first watched it, I was like, why is this new? Like why is this something that's just happened? Why is this not something that has been in every game already?
Exactly.
Like that's literally what I thought when I saw it, and the fact that it seems like it's such a crazy difference is funny, because like it's not, like it seems like something that should be in other titles.
Yeah, honestly.
So game's done quick. Let's talk about it. The official AGDQ 2023 will be taking place online from January 8th through the 15th. So I'll read you the thread of tweets here. It says, while we would love to return in person, we've determined that to provide a safe and welcoming event to all, it was best that we move away from our originally planned location in Florida. First of all, that was the first tweet, so like let me say what a great way to start your tweet. Like, we were gonna come in person, but then Florida was an issue, so like now we're just not going to. So funny. It says, given the state's continued disregard for COVID-19's dangers, including anti-mandate policies, and an increased aggression towards LGBTQ plus individuals, including the law colloquially, known as Don't Say Gay, we do not believe it's a safe place for our community. Immediately after the success of AGDQ 2020, we secured a contract with the venue in Florida to return in 2021. Since the global pandemic was declared, we postponed it in-person events until it was safe to return. We've explored multiple options, which would allow us to return in person by relocating to a safer location. Unfortunately, the cost required to cancel our contract is too great to justify relocating AGDQ while paying the cancellation fee, and we're no longer able to delay our contract. This ultimately led us to move AGDQ 2023 online. While the move to online will allow us to save some expenses, we still have considerable costs to recover. We're looking to recover it wherever possible, including community support via Twitch subs. We thank the community for their support. Game and volunteer submissions are open on September 11th, and you can find out more information at gamesdonequick.com, so you can check that out there. Now.
Yes.
Responses, as I'm sure you are aware, have been coming in from both sides of the issue. Some people, like me, are like, yeah, like, good on you guys, because COVID is a thing. People are still dealing with it. The no mask mandate in Florida is kind of trash. The don't say gay policy is kind of trash. So I wouldn't want my company to be associated with something like this, or all of the risks that also come along with it, because there are, well, before I get onto my side of it, there are also people that are saying, wokeism is the reason that this whole thing is going to be canceled, and that's not fair. I'll never donate again. People that also don't understand, don't understand Florida or the laws here, because I am in Florida, unfortunately.
As am I.
Yeah, okay, so here, the Special Olympics had to drop their vaccine mandate after Florida threatened a $27 million fine against them for having a vaccine mandate, which is what this was talking about for anyone who doesn't have the context. The Special Olympics had to drop their mask mandate, and obviously if you're a part of the Special Olympics, there is a there is a chance that you are immunocompromised, which means that you don't want to be in a big area with people where you could contract COVID. And so Florida and Ron DeSantis threatened to sue them for $27 million as a fine. That was in reference to what they were talking about. But yeah, there are also people who are saying, this is a good decision, Florida's trash, and then there are people on the other side that are saying, why does it have to be, like, why you guys gotta be so woke? Why can't we just have this event? And they're all entitled to their opinion. But as I was saying, I think, if I was them, I wouldn't want my company to be hosting this event there, especially with everything going on currently, because I think at the end of the day, more people want to be safe, and you will end up saving more money as opposed to hosting, I think, in Florida with people that don't feel comfortable coming to the state, period. Mm-hmm. But that's just my 2 cents. What do you think?
I'm more or less on the same thought process on that. With the way AGDQ is done, where they want to make sure that they're raising money for a good cause, and that they also want to keep their participants and visitors and what have you safe while they're doing so. So I admire them for sticking to their morals, because as that thread elucidated, this was certainly not an easy decision to do. There's a lot of costs that they're now have to eat, but they're ultimately making a decision that would ultimately, I don't want to say save money, because they're still paying money that they probably don't want to like make this last minute decision, but they're sticking by what they wanted to do, and I can admire them for that, for wanting to make sure that their participants feel safe. And it sounds to me like this decision was made not only based on like the leadership level, but probably also based on the feedback level, because I feel like a lot of the speedrunners that would be participating in this category probably were very vocal about how they wanted to participate in those, and I respect them for listening to them as well, and keeping their safety in mind in these circumstances. So all to say, I think they made the right call here. I really do. There's a lot of companies that I think in the same position would have just been like, all right, let me just say this much as well. They were very transparent about all this. They did not have to go into a full thread on all the things they did, but they did. And I think that matter of transparency could have also been good, even if they made the other decision. Like, hey, we're not going to have the mask mandate. Here's the full list of reasons why. Florida's forcing our hand. We're going to do it. If you don't feel safe, by all means, don't come. So I think either decision could have been fine in this instance, as long as they were transparent about it. But ultimately, I think they're making a decision that makes the most sense, again, for their leadership and the people that would want to attend. And so I respect it, and I think it's the right move.
Yeah. I think that just succinctly said everything I would have said, so I'll leave it at that.
Swag. I said swiggity swag. I haven't busted that out in years.
So back to PlayStation really quick. I don't know if anyone cares, but there is a gray camouflage PS5 accessories that have been announced, including the gray camouflage faceplates, a gray camouflage DualSense controller, and a gray camouflage Pulse 3D headset. That's fun. Cyberpunk 2077 is getting its first expansion. Major expansion. It's called Phantom Liberty. And will only be released on PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. They are not doing obviously, they're not doing prior consoles. Which, we're going to talk about this for a second. This is very much Final Fantasy VII type deal, where you start on one, but you can't continue unless you have the next generation. And, once Cyberpunk 2077 was fixed, I've only heard positive things about it. I can't say that I've heard anything negative about it after it's been fixed and playable. But yeah, how do you feel about this? If you enjoyed it and you want the DLC, either you gotta play on PC or you gotta play on a new gen console, even if you played the original on last gen console.
I think if you're someone, to be quite frank, I think if you're someone that's probably on the outside looking in, this may seem like it's trash. But I have to imagine, and just to be based on the stuff we've heard about the horror stories we heard about Cyberpunk when it first came out, it really sounds like this game really was designed for the next generation in mind, and that they were just, trying to cover their base by having the old generation. But those old generation consoles just weren't powerful enough to hold this game. So it makes perfect sense to me. And I think if you're someone that has personally played Cyberpunk 2077 and on older gen hardware and went through that horror thing, I think your testimony would probably be strong enough to say, yeah, no, I don't want to play this. Like, all this new stuff, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, at this point, I think the general gaming populace understands that Cyberpunk 2077 is a game that needs to be on next-gen hardware to run properly and continue its life cycle the way it is. I don't think it's feasible to continue on a past generation consoles, because it sounds to me like those versions were not nearly as fixed as the later gen ones, which are perfectly playable at this point. In fact, I would even go as far as to say that I think there's a much bigger case for Cyberpunk 2077 future parts to be next gen or current gen exclusive than there was for, say, FF7 Remake Intergrade. Honestly, and I thought that was, and I was saying, it's like, yeah, no, they're getting ready for the next generation, it's fine, but I think there's even bigger case made of Cyberpunk, ironically enough, because of its failures when it first came out.
Yeah, I can see that viewpoint for sure, and I completely agree with you. Like, if I agree with you that gamers will understand that. Look at how it launched on last gen, so we probably are all aware that we can't continue to work on this way. But I think for Final Fantasy VII, it's the same thing. One of the biggest complaints that Square Enix got was just background textures. How they look so bad on PS4. And then if you play on PS5, when they enhanced it for PS5, all of those things were magically fixed. Yeah. So it's like, hey, we had to do what we could. And then even moving along to Intergrade, seeing, and I guess, yeah, I do agree with you there. I do think that they could have just gone with Intergrade being on previous gens. But I don't know. I think the difference is that I guess it's not, because the Cyberpunk thing is also DLC. I think it's less serious when it's DLC.
Sure.
But I also agree. Yeah, I think I just agree with you. I think you've just convinced me that yes, I agree. Yeah, I agree with everything you've said. But it's so crazy to see now just what people have done to, because I've been like seeing a bunch of articles on mods recently, like what you can do to like mod things, and it helps now that I have a Steam Deck, so I'm looking more at PC stuff. And just like, I watched a YouTube video the other day on Mojo Plays, I think, about the best mods for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay.
And like, people just made the game prettier, like, on PC, and they did a lot of things that you just that like, I'm sure Like someone just literally is going through and redoing all of the textures in the entire game just to make it look even better on PC. And I'm sure that's something that Square could have done. However, they're held back by certain hardware. So I'm very excited to see. I remember my first time playing Final Fantasy VII Remake on PS5 with the PS5 upgrade, and the only thing I kept thinking was, "Oh my god, so many particles!" Like, oh my god, there's so many particles. You hit something, and like 10 million particles are flying on the screen, and I was like, if this is capable from them working on this game for years, I cannot imagine what the final entry in this line is after having worked with the PS5 over years.
Oh yeah.
Before I go on a tangent about how much I love Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'll go ahead and move on again.
I'll mention real quick on on the hardware level. This is a little bit of a tangent, but I recently got The Last of Us Part 1 on PlayStation 5, right? And seeing in how the remake has functioned on PlayStation 5, I was going through the settings, and two of the settings were unlocked frame rate and the variable refresh rate, terms that I didn't really know about until about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And
can I say something really quickly?
Go for it. What do you have to say?
Speaking on the variable refresh rate, did you update your PS5?
Yes.
So, have you played The Last of Us since updating your PS5 with the latest update?
No, because that update was this morning. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet.
Do it again and then talk to me because it will change. If your TV is able to do it, that variable refresh rate is going to make an even more of a difference than it already does, because this latest update is going to expand what your PS5 can do in terms of variable refresh rate on the PS5. I'm sorry, keep going.
I'm going to have to test that, but I don't think I have a 4K TV, but I don't think it's capable of VRR or HDR, all that good stuff. And oh my god, now I'm seriously thinking about getting a new TV during Black Friday, so I'm gonna have to start saving.
Do it because I'm doing it. Let's do it together. Let's buy a TV.
Let's do it together, Jerel. Let's figure this out. Cause my games are starting to get too good, man. I need to start the TV must match the quality that's being put out.
Dude, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
You gotta do it. I'm going for an OLED now. I'm very excited.
Yeah, no, 4K OLED. VRR, HDR, got to get all that good stuff, all the bells and whistles. It's funny too. Last podcast we were talking about Masahiro Sakurai's new YouTube channel. He actually did a video specifically about game lag, and he even made TV recommendations on how to eliminate game lag. And I'm like, God damn it! So between The Last of Us Part 1, Sakurai basically yelling at me to get a good TV, nerd, is just like, all right,
it's time.
Yeah,
it's time.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. Yes, you were talking about The Last of Us.
No. That's literally all I was talking about. I guess if I'm on the subject, no, it looks really good. It looks very it definitely feels like it's made for PlayStation 5. That's all I'm gonna say about it, because otherwise it's more or less the same game, but it just looks so much better. That's all.
I was complaining about it at first, and then I saw it. I saw someone playing it on YouTube, and I was like, am I really gonna go buy this game again? I thought about it. I actually thought about it. But I only thought about it because we were talking about, when we were talking about single-player games that are good for, co-op experiences, I was thinking, this is probably, maybe I can get my mom to come and, watch a playthrough of The Last of Us and get her experience or something, or my best friend or someone. So I was thinking about doing a playthrough of The Last of Us with friends and family just to see how that works. And also just because it's so beautiful now. I just saw it and I was like, damn, I just want to play this game because it's so freaking pretty.
Well, I have a question. I have a question actually. I don't know if you've already told me this, but as far as the PlayStation Plus, the upper, do you have any of the upper tiers, or do you just have Essential?
I'm sorry, what?
As far as that PlayStation Plus and its new tiers that have been recently introduced.
Okay. Yes, I do have an upper tier. Well, okay. I have access to an upper tier.
Well, yeah, basically. Yeah. So the reason why I asked that is because I was actually listening to a podcast earlier today when I was coming back home from work, and one of the person on that podcast brought up a good point. The Last of Us Part 1 seems like a game that in about 2 or 3 months, that's probably too short, maybe 3 months or more, will be something that they put on, say, PlayStation Plus Extra. Probably not that soon. Maybe not until early 2023 if I'm being optimistic. but I think it is something that will eventually get dropped on there. So if it's not something that you're in a rush to play, I think you could probably outlast play Sony. I'm just saying.
I don't know, only because how many versions of The Last of Us are available right now on PlayStation for free with like a basic subscription?
With the basic subscription, you can get The Last of Us remastered version. Exactly. And so far that hasn't been delisted, so you can still get that. So as far as The Last of Us Part 1,
I'd see them doing Part 1 while also having The Last of Us, because that would just be like putting Royal while also having regular Persona.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, like
sure, but I think the difference is because it is on like a higher tier that it would kind of make a difference. Like I as ridiculous as that sounds, I could see them putting like Persona 5 regular is on the PlayStation Plus collection if you're like a regular PS5 member. But I could totally see them doing Royal as like a perk for being on the extra, just because it has that much more content. Oh, by the way, my cousin Jeremiah is on chat saying hello. Hi, Jeremiah. Thanks for coming.
Also, fair point. So the DC character that was the first trans superhero on TV is now going to be Fortnite's first trans character. Superhero Dreamer joins Fortnite.
Oh, Dreamer, nice.
Yeah, that's that. Cool. I don't know. Go ahead.
No, well, I became familiar with Dreamer because I saw her originally on The Flash, the CW The Flash show. I'm sorry, not this Flash. She was on Supergirl. She was a main character on Supergirl before the show finished. And yeah, no, she was a cool character, played by Nicole Maines, who is in real life a trans woman, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, she's coming to Fortnite. First trans character. That's awesome. Fortnite
cool.
is just unstoppable. That's what I will call it.
It really is.
And this next story, I just thought like it was cool, not because of the subject matter, but just like the connectivity. So Harry Potter fans who are eager to be sorted into their houses and get their wands in Hogwarts Legacy are in luck. If you connect your Wizarding World account with a WB Games account, your Pottermore results can be carried into the game. So, for anyone who doesn't know what this is, obviously WB is coming out with Hogwarts Legacy in a couple of months, right? In a couple of months. It was pushed into next year, right?
I want to say yes.
Along with Forspoken, basically everything is. Literally, anytime they mention a big game, I just already know it's getting pushed into next year. Forspoken, God of War.
God of War is still this year.
Legacy. Yeah, but it was pushed into this year, was it not? Because it was supposed to come out before.
Possibly. I don't think they had like
basically all games.
Basically all games.
I'm gonna just say all games. Anyway, I thought this was so cool, like as a concept, because essentially on Pottermore you can go on to Pottermore. I think it's like Pottermore.com. I don't know, but you can go on to Pottermore, do like a sorting quiz, and then figure out what Hogwarts house you're in. I did this like years ago.
Yes.
When I didn't know that J.K. Rowling was a horrible person, and the fact you can like tie that to your WB account, and then your video game reflects what you did on a computer, and like that actually reflects the game in a significant way. I just think that's crazy cool. Like, I don't know. I maybe I'm just freaking out for no reason, but it seems like I just think, like, how did they do this? Like, how did they come up with this? Like, how do you get those Pottermore results, upload them, and then, like, when you start the game, you already know, like, where you're going to be and what's going to be uploaded. Like, I'm sure it's much simpler than I'm making it sound like. But I just thought it was, like, a really cool tie-in.
No, it is really cool. I think that's a very cool option. Now, that being said, and this is going to sound very contradictory, even though, first off, it might be difficult because I haven't logged into Pottermore in like literally years, so I probably don't even remember my login information. So I probably don't even have the option to do this. But even if I did, I don't know if I would, because I feel like the sorting ceremony that they'll have in the game will be like a really cool experience, and I wouldn't really want to cheat myself out of that potentially by doing it ahead of time. Now that being said,
Well, I would assume that you would still go through it, but you would just already have the like results predetermined.
Yeah,
Is my
probably.
assumption.
Yeah, that's probably how it
Go
goes, but I guess we'll see. But here's the contradictory part of that about it. Even though I'm willing to essentially redo the Pottermore thing again, I'm sorry, redo the sorting thing again in game with Hogwarts Legacy. If I don't get Hufflepuff, I'm resetting. Just straight up. Just straight up. I may not have logged into Pottermore years, but I'm true to Hufflepuff regardless. Like, so if I don't get
it. Remember if you were Hufflepuff in Pottermore?
Yes, I know. I remember that very clearly. I remember at the time that I had to be convinced that it was the right choice too, because I don't know what else really wanted. I was gonna let Pottermore just like pretty much decide me, and then they said Hufflepuff. Okay. Why am I Hufflepuff? So then I went on the website. Then you get like a video from, unfortunately, J.K. Rowling and a few other people explaining why I got the Hufflepuff choice and basically describing it. And I kind of got tucked into it. And now I represent it for life. Like I was like, okay, yeah, no, you know what? That does describe me. I'm cool with this. So
Brandon, you were such a Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
like I see it. You're such a Hufflepuff. 100%.
I know. I mean, now that I know what the general Hufflepuff vibe is, yes, no, I agree. Like I've had years to accept my role and then like feel and understand and understand who I am and why that house works for me. So I fully embrace it. So yeah, no, if I play Hogwarts Legacy, I'm not Hufflepuff. Reset. I don't care how long that intro is.
I am. Well, actually, what do you think I am? If I probably told you already.
You probably have told me, but you strike me as a Ravenclaw.
Oh, I wish. Thank you. I wish. I've always gotten Gryffindor with Slytherin like right behind it. Okay. It's always like either I'm Gryffindor or Slytherin. Always like super super close, and every time Gryffindor ends up being the final answer.
I can see
but
Gryffindor.
I'm just probably gonna go with Slytherin because like.
Okay.
I don't like the colors for Gryffindor.
As soon as wait, but aren't you getting Scarlet?
Somebody told me one time. Yes, I am because orange is my favorite color, and I get to go to the orange school. Like that's why. Somebody told me one time. I heard it like one time a long time ago that like the Gryffindor colors are just like McDonald's workers, and I was like, oh no. And ever since then, I was like, well, I can't take the colors out. And I was like, look, this green and silver looks so much better than like a McDonald's uniform. No offense to anybody that works at McDonald's. It's a great place, unless you are at the one by my house, in which it sucks. But yeah, that's that. I have like one more thing I think to talk about, and then we can wrap up with my question, which I haven't forgotten yet. Which technically you've already answered, but I just want to talk about it on the podcast.
Okay.
Oh yeah, iPhone 14 was announced today.
Oh yeah, there was an Apple presentation.
Other stuff from the Apple presentation I'm not going to talk about because we're running out of time. Kotaku's Mike Fahey has unfortunately passed away at the young age of only 49. He's had a 16-year career in gaming, and I've followed his stuff before, so I wanted to shout him out. And from Jason Schreier's Twitter, the rumors are true. Ubisoft plans to announce several Assassin's Creed games on Saturday, including the two main games in Infinity. There's Red, set in Japan, and Neo/Hex, set amongst the witch trials of the Holy Roman Empire. Brandon.
Yes, what's your question?
Are you a fan of Assassin's Creed?
The answer to that is sadly no. It's a series that I've always wanted to get into. I made the mistake of starting with Assassin's Creed 1, which most Assassin's Creed fans will tell you is actually... the general consensus when I hear about the Assassin's Creed series is like 1 was good for its time because there was no open world game quite like it. But ever since 2 and onwards have come out, fan reception on 1 has like way majorly slipped.
Dropped, yeah.
Like majorly slipped, and most people will say just start with 2 and just go from there. Which is probably at some point I'll do that in my life. You know, I got a lot of games, but I would like to at some point because I do hear good things about the Ezio trilogy. No, it's a series that I've always wanted to check out. I admire those games a great deal because, you know, I like the idea of you being this this Cloak and Dagger character in these different historical settings, different times. I definitely wanted to check out Black Flag because I love the pirate aesthetic. Not as much as our good mutual friend Wesley, but I do like me some pirate stories there as well. There's definitely some highlights I want to check out. I wanted to check out Odyssey because I love Greek mythology. Black Flag again, I mentioned Origins. I enjoy ancient Egypt culture. Valhalla looked really cool. There's like a lot of good standouts, but I'm always intimidated to get into them because again, there's so many other ones that I haven't tried, and also because I know they're gonna be big games. They're gonna ask a lot of time from me, and usually when they come out, I'm like playing something else. But I do like the fact that now Assassin's Creed games are not coming out annually. That does make me feel a little better about it. I feel like I could actually catch up if I really wanted to, which definitely makes me feel good. There was a time where I was like, okay, I'm never gonna catch up. They release them every year. I'm literally not playing them. What am I gonna do? So now that they've slowed down a little bit, is better. But now you're also telling me they're announcing multiple Assassin's Creed games. So I'm also like. But at the same time, the ones you're telling me sound like they're gonna be really cool because like one that takes place in the witch trials, that sounds really cool. What was the other one that you were saying? Like you said a witch trials one. What was the other ones that you were saying?
Japan.
Yeah, that's the one that people have wanted forever. I think that'd be super dope. But there was one more. I heard rumors about Assassin's Creed Mirage. I think it was, which is like this. God, where is? I don't know. Anyway, all the ones that was being mentioned sound like they'd be really cool. So yeah, isn't this Saturday when they're doing the Ubisoft Forward where they have?
I believe so.
Yeah, so they're supposed to be talking about Skull and Bones, Sparks of Hope, and I think that Assassin's Creed game. So it should be an interesting Ubi Forward. I'll be working probably, but I will check out the highlights after it's over.
So Disney has a new game, or a new card game that's coming out that's supposed to go up against Magic the Gathering and Pokemon called Disney Lorcana, the trading card game. This is from Polygon.com, written by Charlie Hall. The basic idea is that there's this place called the Great Illuminary. It's a treasury of all the Disney songs and stories ever made, all the characters, and it's where they're kind of recorded. The players take on this role of an Illumineer, this powerful sorcerer that has the ability to bring these characters to life off the page. Players will be bringing a band of their favorite Disney characters together to adventure in this world. The collectible game will include a modern storybook art style. It was inspired by the storybook openings of classic Disney films and features visible line work and vibrant color washes. It mixes both traditional hand-drawn qualities seen in fairy tale storybooks with new digital techniques. Quote, those little paint chip things that people have sometimes when they're painting their houses? Our art director has one of those from a manufacturer of different foil treatments for cards, holographic with ink, with an ink spill or with a star. Yeah, he kicked me out of his office the other day. I'm kidding, but I could just sit there for hours looking at all the pretty things. I'd say, as a person who collects Pokemon cards, especially shiny evolutions, I'm really excited. I can't wait to add more cards to my collection. I think other Disney collectors will feel the same. This game is probably the largest potential that Ravensburger has ever gone after, and hence also probably the largest investment that we've ever done in any type of project and initiative. We know that as you enter the TCG market that you're inviting the players for a many-year journey. We don't take that lightly. This effort is a multi-year series of releases. It's something that Disney has never allowed any collaborator to do. So the trust we built with Disney, I think, allowed us to come to a point where we both strategically, commercially had the trust to say, yeah, let's dare to do this together. And then they go on to talk about how Magic is has a very high competitive level, and people love that about Magic. But they're not going to do that. It is definitely a strategy card game, but they've pulled back the confrontation level because, quote, we feel that we will appeal to a lot more folks. So if you think of chess as the highest confrontation level you can get, we're a bunch of notches behind that because we want people to have fun with these characters that they love so much. Fans will get a first look at the cards themselves during D23 Expo on September 9th, which is a few days from now.
I didn't realize it was that close. Actually. Oh my god. Oh, whew. Oh wow. Yeah. Oh boy, we're gonna get a lot.
So yeah, we're getting. I have wanted to collect Pokemon cards again for so long. I just haven't started. I haven't started. Wonderful friend David, who has some pieces, I believe, who helps with the website, and he might have a piece or two on hpcritical.com. He has a beautiful collection of Pokemon cards. I didn't even know that they sold like jumbo Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
He has some. and they're amazing. He has a collection of Pokemon cards. Another friend of mine has a collection.
I think there's like, it's hard. Hold on, I can bring it closer. 1 second.
And I want to collect. Oh yes, Brandon is coming back with his jumbo Pokemon card. Let's see it.
I got this whole break that came with like there's like the full back and everything. It came with like this one of those collector's boxes that you could get like in like your local Target or whatever. I just happened to get one because I like the way the whole looked, and I have it mostly at a display. Like Pokemon cards, I actually know how to play the TCG as well. Like I don't just like, but like. It's weird because like I have no one like around me to like play Pokemon cards with. So every time I buy the cards, I have that first few minutes where I'm just like, ooh, look at the pretty cards, and then regret because like, okay, I have all these cards. Who am I playing these with?
Bro, let's play over Discord.
You know what? That might be the way. It's also available online. You can also just play the Pokemon TCG online. I've been hoping that would come to Switch at some point because it seems to make too much sense to do that. I would love to be able to play that. Yeah, that's the problem with TCG games with me. Like, I enjoy the card games, but like, first off, it gets expensive to be buying all them cards just to like get yourself your deck. That's why I basically swore out the Yu-Gi-Oh physical game. Though I do like the Yu-Gi-Oh video games because you know you get on them cards, you don't have to spend all that money, and then you can make your decks to play against people, so it's a lot cheaper, and you could actually play with more people that way. But Pokemon cards, I found it's not as difficult to make a deck, which is why it doesn't seem to get as expensive. I'm kind of rambling here, but where I'm going with this, like in the terms of like this Disney card game. I would love to get like in the ground floor of this because I love me some Disney characters. And the idea that they're not really going for the competitive thing, I think that is going to rub some people the wrong way. But I think ultimately a lot of people still have fun with it in that regard. And I would be interested to see what is their long-term plans for it. Because between you and I, there was this Disney card venture that they attempted a few years ago called Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. And you could get these like collectible cards, and then if you went to like the Magic Kingdom part and presented them in like specific areas, you could do like interactable stuff. And there was like 60 cards that you could collect basically, and it was pretty fun for a while. But they didn't really have any long-term plans for these cards. Unfortunately, you collected them and you would use them in the parks. The reason why that fell off is because it's like a scavenger. You would spend like a lot of time in the parks doing this, and most people that went to the parks. They wanted to get on the rides, man. They wanted to see characters. They didn't want to just be like doing the scavenger hunt to go around and play with the cards. So the novelty for the general populace wore off pretty fast. And again, they had no long-term plans for the cards. Like there was apparently plans to make an actual card game out of them, but there was no rules established or anything like that. It just kind of never panned out. So that fell by the wayside. So I'm hoping this turns out a lot better in that regard, that they actually do something with it, because my God, dude, there's so many Disney characters. Like you could, they're like even if you kept it from, I don't know, 1950 to 2000, you could keep that card game going for years. You don't even have to touch anything from this current millennium and still have like a card game that could last for years. Because, I don't know, you could, like, pull, like, the most obscure characters from, like, say, Aristocats as, like, a support card to, like, boost up your other, like, Aladdin card or whatever. Like, there's no shortage. There's really no shortage. So they have all the money to gain and everything to lose from doing this. It makes sense. I just hope they do it right.
Yeah, I think I would only be interested in this for collecting cards. Like, I don't think I would play a Disney game just because I already know that it's not going to be at a competitive level. However, like, and I think that's where Pokemon and Magic will obviously outshine this game because you have people that are, just the core TCG. Like, they are the people who are going to always spend their money on this. Whereas this is, it seems like it's more centered around collectors. Like, and like, I'm already like, yo, give me, shiny holographic Bell and I'm gonna buy it. Like that's just like, that's gonna happen. But as far as like longevity without a competitive scene, like, how long does this last? What is it? Does it actually become competitive, or is it just now, collecting cards? We'll see.
Yeah, well, I guess so.
We'll see. On Saturday, we'll see.
we certainly will.
Friday.
I did not realize it was coming up that soon. D23. Oh boy, we're gonna get a lot of announcements, man. Some Kingdom Hearts stuff, please.
I'm waiting for a TGS. I've seen the list of things that are going to be at TGS, and I am very excited.
Oh boy, we got a lot of game stuff coming up. Gaming, yeah, just in general. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
I'm running out of time here, and my laptop's about to die as well.
Ooh.
So I will quickly list off the things that are going to be shown at TGS since I brought it up. The Square Enix booth at TGS is going to be Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion,
Nice.
Diofield Chronicle, Dragon Quest Treasures, Dragon Quest X, Dragon Quest X Awakening, Five Tribes Online, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy 14, Forspoken, Harvestella, Infinity Strash, Dragon Quest Adventures of Dai, Nier Automata End of Yorha Edition, Power Wash Simulator, Romancing Saga, Star Ocean 6, The Divine Force, Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins, Tactus Ogre, Reborn, Valkyrie Elysium, and War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. And finally, Brandon, the question that I was going to end the podcast with, I don't even know if you've already answered this, so this is just for the podcast audience. And I don't even know if you know where I got this from when I asked the question. But the question is, would you, and I already know the answer, but I'm asking again, would you let your 10-year-old child go on their Pokemon adventure? And the reason that I don't know if I ever told you where I got this question from, but I had seen one of the Poketoon like shorts on YouTube, which it was the first one that I've seen in full.
I know exactly what
so
you're talking
good.
about. Yes.
They're so good.
Yeah.
And okay, great. So I don't have to explain it for you because my laptop's going to die. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But the very small gist of it is that she kept wanting to go. The girl wants to go on her adventure and her parents are just like, no, go do your chores. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, I'm not going to send you out to start your Pokemon journey. You're like 10.
I just want to say real quick, that's probably my favorite of the Poketoons. Like, I watched them all. That's probably
so
my favorite.
Good.
Yeah.
I was tearing up at the end of it. I was like,
The
how am I
twist
crying
at the end was crazy. I was like, whoa.
I was like, how am I crying at this, like, 5-minute Pokemon cartoon? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
But yes, Brandon, would you let your 10-year-old go on their Pokemon adventure?
No, I would not. Not at 10. I think if my child is mature enough, like in their teenage years, I think that's a possibility. Like, for me, the minimum would have to be 15. You know, like 15, I would like. You know what? If you feel like you can handle this adventure and your Pokemon can protect you, then sure, go on your merry way, son or daughter. But 10, now I think about like the 10-year-olds in my family and how I was as a 10-year-old, and I'm like, I cannot be responsible, or this child cannot be responsible for taking care of themselves. Now, here's the thing. They do this in the anime. Ash is always accompanied by a person, at minimum one person. If you have people with you, that's a different thing than what you go through in the games, where you are on your journey by yourself with your Pokemon. And that's...
So would you let a group of 10-year-olds go? Would you let your child go with a group of 10-year-olds? Like 2 or 3 other 10-year-olds?
It depends on the 10-year-olds they're going with. Like, they're like, I need to see a diverse set of skill sets in a scene. Like, I need the brains. I need the impulsive one. Like, I need a full anime cast before I trust my child to go with them. Like,
wow.
To cover the bases, basically, of any situation they can go through. Because that was what Ash went through. Like Ash has his personality. Misty has her personality. Brock has his personality. And they all just kind of mesh together to make them survive in this world. Where there's a lot of those anime episodes where Ash himself got almost like destroyed by these wild Pokemon. They were dangerous. Like, he
could have died.
He did die. There were several instances.
Oh, he did in the movie.
In the movies, he died. And there was even an episode where he went to Lavender Town, became a ghost, flew around with some ghost Pokemon for a while, and Ash just decided, hey, but they're worried about me. I should probably go back to life. And the Gengar cried. But they just let Ash come back to life. So he's died. So I don't want my 10-year-old to die. What if they can't pull some anime bullshit to come back to life? I don't want my child.
It just brings me back to the fact that Pokemon is just such a unique series and franchise, because it has, you know, fans of literally all ages.
Honestly.
Like, it is one of the only, not the only, but one of the only franchises that I can think that spans generations, right? Like, our people older than us, our generation, people younger than us are all able to be a part of this. And I love that, as Pokemon goes on, they're delving into allowing us to see deeper stories, like with N, for example. That storyline of, are we even are we abusing these pocket monsters by fighting them? Allowing us to go into things like that, progressing with the diversity because they know that Pokemon is so huge, and also finally allowing us to play as characters that don't look like they're 10 years old anymore. I am still so happy at Sword and Shield because I don't look like a 10-year-old. And I think they got a really nice balance. And so I think it looks kind of the same for Scarlet and Violet, but we will see. And with that, thank you for your answer, Brandon. Yes.
One last thing I want to add on before you wrap us up. It's the reason why I really want them to do a sequel to Detective Pikachu, but not necessarily Detective Pikachu 2, mind you, but another live-action Pokemon movie kind of set in that universe. Because with Detective Pikachu, like, they didn't touch too much on trainers. It took place in a city where people and Pokemon just hung out together. The main character, Tim Goodman, wanted to be a trainer, but it didn't work out, so he ended up, just kind of going to school and trying to become a detective like his father. And so it took adjacent, like, Pokemon trainers exist in the world of that film, but it's not something that it's focused on. So I would love if they did a movie that, like, what's the realistic take on a kid wanting to become a Pokemon trainer? Is that something that they just allow? Like, is that... I just want them to go more into it. I think it was okay for, like, the first live action movie to just, like, skirt away from that a little bit and touch on something a simpler topic to tackle. But no, go into that for the next movie. I want to see what they do with that. And on that note, please make it a live action Pokemon movie. I love Detective Pikachu. I want more.
And everybody go watch the Poketoons if you haven't seen them. They're great. They are really so good.
The Scraggy and Mimikyu one was also really good.
I've not seen that one yet.
That one is very classic, like Looney Tunes one. I actually really liked it.
But yeah, I watched that one and I was like, would I let my kid go and be... No. Like, the answer is no. I'm sorry. You're just going to be really mad. All your friends are going to go because their parents are bad. I'm not letting you go. Anyway, with that, we're going to... Please get down. My cat. I'm sorry. With that, we're going to go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. Thank you, Brandon, for hanging out with me. It's been a little bit longer than... usual, but we did get to start a little bit earlier. It's been a wonderful conversation. We covered a lot of news this week, and we'll see you guys again next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.